customer, can I ask you a question? And so, it was a great question. He said, so when I input the customer, should I be on the line with them to do the third-party verification? I said, absolutely. We three-way in all of our customers to make sure that they go through the process. After all, that's our money we're talking about. So we're going to take responsibility for it. When someone wants to be our customer, we actually input their information. We don't want them to do it. We want to get it done ourselves. So we're going to take full responsibility to it. And so we'll input them, and then we'll call them back and three-way them into third-party verification. He says, thank you. He said, I just joined 48 hours ago, and I can't get my sponsor to answer the phone. You see? Now, here's a guy that I want to work with. His upline already quit, but he didn't. Why? Because he was on the call last night that we did on Thursday night for all brand new consultants. It was at 9:30 Central. He said, and on that call, you and your wife offered to help, and I couldn't believe it. So I sent you a message, and you actually responded. Well, of course I'm going to respond. I'm here to help. I'm not here to do anything. I'm just here to help, and that's the attitude I want you to have right from the beginning. Take full responsibility for the income that's in your lap right now. You have a heck of an income opportunity that you already started. So take full responsibility for it. Be a business owner and right from the start, get serious. Don't treat this as a little bitty old hobby. It might pay you a couple bucks. Treat it like a true multi-million-dollar business for you and your family, because that's what it is. And that's how I was basically forced to treat it. You see, my sponsor didn't give me any training. I called him at 6:30 in the evening after I joined on a Friday night. I said, okay, Steve, I joined. What do I do first? He said, go sponsor 3 consultants tomorrow and then call me back. Click, he hung up. Folks, that was my training. You see, it wasn't training, it was instructions. And so I followed instructions. I went and sponsored 3 consultants. Didn't really know what I was doing. We didn't have any systems or tools back then, so I just had to talk about Chris and Jerry and draw the compensation out on a piece of paper. I got 3 people to join my very first day. Now remember, the day before, I borrowed $400 to get started. And so I didn't have credibility of any sort. So I called him back that night and said, okay, Steve, I sponsored 3 consultants, now what? He said, it's easy. You just go help those 3 do what you did. And then call me back tomorrow night. Click, and he hung up. Holy cow, okay. So I went out that next morning, and I helped those 3 each sponsor 3. I called my sponsor back. I said, all right, Steve, I got 9 new people in the business. Now what? He said, first of all, congratulations. You just got your first promotion. He said, now tomorrow, as those now 12 people, if they call you and want some help, make sure you answer. He said, now just go start it all over again in your new regional code. I said, come on, this is that simple? He said, yeah, that's all we do. I said, oh my gosh, okay, we're going to make a fortune here, aren't we? He said, we sure are. Because that's as simple gets. And so now, right now, the special, thing that you have that makes it even easier is you're not even asking them for $400. That doesn't even come for another 8 days from now that people have to get back to paying that. Right now, it's zero down and just pay for your website. So how many of you are going to sponsor 3 or 4 or 5 tomorrow? Help those folks do the same thing on Sunday. Help them do it again on Monday. Help them do it again on Tuesday. By Friday night at midnight, every person listening on this call, it doesn't matter if you just started 5 minutes ago or 5 days ago, every single person on this call has an ability to have a new organization, well over 100 people. And that just starts to help you with your residual checks and your promotions. So it's all available. So I hope you listen to everything that happens for you tonight that Dundy's going to go through. I hope you pay full attention to it. I hope you get fully plugged in. I hope you're going to multiple meetings and getting on our training calls that we do every single day, Monday through Saturday at 10 a.m. and Sunday night at 7 p.m. Because we're all here to help. We give from our heart. So we're here. So we hope that you take full advantage of it. And I look forward to hearing all your successes. And Dundy knows my schedule, but I'll be back in the Chicago area starting on March the 10th all the way through the training on Saturday, March the 14th. So Dundy, I'm going to leave it to you guys, man, and just because y'all know how to help people. So congratulations, everyone. Y'all have a great night.
All right, thanks, Chris. Appreciate it. Awesome. Okay. I know I want this kind of be kind of interactive, so if anybody has any questions or if I didn't cover it properly, you've got that little chat thing down there, or you can text me, okay? Or if you want to, just kind of speak out loud, and we'll go over it. The first thing I want to know is, do we have anyone here under 28 days of business? In other words, you're a brand new marketing consultant. Okay, so I'm going to assume that everyone's outside their first 28 days.
No, right. Scott and Shamira are both brand new Dundy. Oh. I think they might be muted up.
Okay. All right. So if you're brand new, I'm going to go to Chris Atkinson's website here. Chris Atkinson was the national consultant, #4 income earner that was just there. And I want you to go to www.team526.biz. You can see up there at the top. Okay. His conference calls, to welcome new consultants. You can see every Tuesday and Thursday nights. Here's the phone number. There's the pin at 9:30 p.m. Central, 10:30 p.m. Eastern time. And then this little box here has training. Okay, that little video. And you can play Jumpstart Training. I think it's just over a half an hour. That's probably one of the first things that you should do is just go through a quick training, get a pad of paper, write down some notes, and call one of us if you have questions and to get started. So I wanted to introduce you to the Team526 website. It's got things on here, Chris's schedule. It has a lot of resources here at the top you can check. But this training thing right here is what I wanted to point out. Okay, let's start with that. New into business. So let's get down to Jumpstart Training. I'm going to put this to side because one of the things I want to cover right now is the compensation plan under our current promotion, which is called the Zero Down promotion. Let me open this up. Okay. In your first 28 days of business, if you go out and get 3 customer households, you're going to get $100 from Ambit Energy. Now, if you can be your own first customer, that's great. You don't have to be your own first customer. Someone with a gas and electricity bill under the same address counts for 1 under the current promotion. So that person who you're getting as a customer can be a NICOR only. It can be a ComEd only. It can be a ComEd and NICOR. It can be a commercial. It's residential, commercial, gas or electricity, and it doesn't have to come from Illinois. It's in any of our markets. So you do that in your first 28 days of business, and Ambit Energy is going to cut you a check for $100. Hold on a second here. If you want to go out and do some extra work and get 5 customer households instead of 3, Ambit Energy is going to cut you a check for another $50 for a total of $150. So this screen right here, these customers that you personally are bringing in right here, these 5, they get you $150. Those are your personal customers. When you help someone join in business as a personally sponsored consultant, when you help them get their 5 customers, yes, they're going to get their $150. But this column here, this represents your personal income. So for 5 customers, you got $150. But then for helping this person, and they each have their own 28 days. So when this person joins, you count 28 days from there. And when this person joins, you count 28 days from there. And it doesn't have to be 2. You can continue to sponsor more people, but you have to have at least 2 to get promoted to regional consultant. So 3 customers in 28 days is 105, or excuse me, 2 more for a total of 5 is a total of $150. Now, we want to get people promoted to regional consultant. So to get to regional consultant, we have a formula called 526. 5 stands for 5 personal customer points. So your website counts for 2. You have 3 customers here, and this would be a 5, okay? 2 stands for 2 personally sponsored consultants, and that would be here, and 6 stands for 6 total consultants on your team. But this is where it comes. This is where the dynamics change. Before, all you would have to do is enroll a consultant, and they would count. But under this promotion, for that consultant to count for you to be promoted, they have to gather at least 5 customers, 5 Jumpstart customers right down here. Okay, so just because you enrolled them, it doesn't mean that they're not going to count towards your 6. They each have to get 5 customers plus 2 for the website. Okay, and that's total. That's 7 customer points in order for them to count to get promoted to regional consultant. When you promote to regional consultant, you get a pay raise. That first pay raise is as you put someone else into the business and they sponsor, they get their first Jumpstart bonus, like the $100. Normally you would get $100, but now as a regional consultant, you're going to get $155. The next thing is, as a regional consultant, when these people down here, when we help them trigger that very first bonus, that's 3 customers, right? You're going to get $55 to unlimited depth. That's very important because this is what frees up your time. So I just wanted to quickly cover how to get some initial money, right? 3 customers in 28 days gets you 100, 2 more for a total of 5 gets you 150, and you want to promote. But to get these consultants to count for you for promoting, they have to get 5 actual customers. And they don't have a time limit in terms of counting for your promotion. They have to get them in within 28 days to count for the money. But if they don't get them in time and they come later, they still count for you to get promoted. Okay. So I wanted to cover that real briefly. Does anyone have any questions on what we covered so far as how to get the initial bonus money and having people count? All right. So I just wanted to cover that quickly. While we're on the subject of getting customers, let's talk about something here. I'm going to go to my my dashboard. So let's say you're a new marketing consultant. Okay, you are going to have a clock here, and it says 27 days, 26 days. That's the clock that you have for getting your customers in time for the bonus. Okay, when you enroll personal customers. Now, let me just tell you quickly how I enroll a customer. So I'm going to go over to the Join Ambit website. So I'm going to go to my website right now. Like I'm going to enroll a customer myself, right? So I go to my Join Ambit website. That's for customers. You start by putting the person's zip code in. Say it is a residential, and let's just call it ComEd. Okay. 3% guaranteed savings. That's exactly what you want. This is a 3% guaranteed savings over what ComEd would charge, and that's at the end of 12 months. You're going to click Sign Up. While I'm on this page, in fact, I probably should freeze this page here real quick. People ask me, what is this 500, 1,000, 2,000? Okay, that is for Texas. You ignore this stuff. It does not matter for a customer outside of Texas. And this page is taking a while to load, so it doesn't matter. But I'm just going to tell you how I do this. What I do is when I enroll a customer, I'm going to say, Bob, okay, I've asked him to take a look at the business, and Bob says, I got some issues going on right now. I cannot be a consultant, but you're saying that you need a favor to get started in business, so I'll give you my my ComEd and my NARCOR bill. Okay, so what I do is I go to the Join Ambit website with Bob on the phone. Okay, I go to that website and I just start typing in the information with Bob on the phone. Okay, Bob, get your bill and read me the bill. If he's busy and can't do that, I'll have him take a picture with his phone and text it to me, and then I will enroll all the information for Bob. Okay, so I do all that for him. I don't let customers do it because mistakes can be made. I hand carry everybody personally in my business. So I get Bob in as a customer, and the only other thing then is to do the third-party verification. With Bob on the telephone, after I have enrolled him as a customer, I 3-way him into third-party verification, And as that conversation takes place, it's recorded, so you have to mute your phone because your voice can't be on the timestamp when Bob says, yes, I agree to be an Ambit Energy customer, okay? So after you have enrolled Bob as a personal customer, you want to check his status. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to a new consultant, and I'm going to, his name is Miguel. What's his last name? Mendoza. Come on. I'm looking at one of my downline consultants, Miguel Mendoza. There he is. If you guys don't know how to do this, you can follow along. I'm just going to click his report button, his personal customers, and I'm going to click total. Okay, and this is what customers look like when you first enroll them. Yellow means they have gone to pending status, and that means you're going to get paid on them. Every Friday at midnight, Ambit Energy takes a snapshot of your business and counts the yellows. 3 yellows as far as addresses, okay? 3 addresses count for $100. 2 more for a total of 5 count for another $50. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your mouse and you're going to rest it right over that little dot, and it says verification call attempt number 1. Okay, so obviously when Miguel Mendoza enrolled Jane Coffee, let's make this bigger. When he enrolled Jane Coffee, he did not do the third-party verification right away. So the system will attempt to call that customer 6 times. At the end of 6 times, they stop calling and the person goes into like a limbo status. Then you have to call consultant support and call it and say, please reinstate customer this number here, reinstate this number for verification, okay? What you want to see is you take this little mouse and you rest it right on top of that dot. What you want to see is verification call success, okay? In like 2 to 3 business days, something like that, this is going to go to a yellow status. Why is this important? Because you are not going to get paid until those customers turn yellow, and so that you want to track them. So I just taught you how to do that. Again, let's go back. If they were my personal customers, I go to personal customer reports right here. You may not have this on your desktop. You see this little thing right here? So you're going to go to the bottom, and down here are these little what's called dashboard widgets. So if you wanted to pull one up there like a dashboard widget, you would just grab it right here. See that? And pull it on your desktop and let go. That's how you would pull a widget. So that's where these widgets that you're seeing come from. So this little quick links widget I use all the time. If you are a regional consultant or higher, you want to have a consultant leadership bonus detail report come up. So I'm going to quickly go there, let you see what this looks like. Okay. And then you're going to see their status. Okay. I have X amount of people come up. You can see that when a person has or is going to get paid. So up here at the top, green means you're going to get paid on this date. Blue means you're going to get paid on that date, and yellow means you're going to pay. You've already been paid. But here is the thing you want to pay attention to: days left for the promotion. This person has 2 days left. I look over here under Jump Start Points. This column right here is very important. This column right here, Jump Start Points. This person has 2 Jump Start Points. They need 3 Jump Start Points to trigger their first $100. Notice that they don't have that little getting paid thing here, okay? So to take care of that, in fact, I called David, by the way, and you just go down this list and you call them or text them or however you want to do it. One at a time, you keep track of how many days they have left, how many points they have, and how their customers are coming in and what status they are. Have they failed verification? Are they having problems? This little guy right here, CLB detail report, is your best friend, regional consultant and higher. But as a new consultant, what you're concerned with is your initial customers, and that is this guy right here. If you don't want to use this widget, just go up here to My Business and Customer Reports. Takes you to the same place. Okay, there's other things. There's lots of tools and resources for the consultants in your business. That's like I said. I went to Consultant Reports. I went to the person's downline. I pulled up his customer report and I checked his status. So those are some tools and resources in gathering a customer and making sure that they're getting through the process. So let's get back here to Jumpstart Training. Any questions or issues so far? Let me know, okay? The first thing and most important thing in a business about Ambit Energy is what we call your why, or your desire to change your life. My desire to change my life, I wanted some free time. As an airline pilot with United, I was commuting from 3 hours from Pittsburgh, then to Chicago, and then to fly around the world and come back. I was looking for a week off a month. That's me. In 18 months of this business, starting from a state where I could not get customers, we were able to retire my wife off of her job with just the passive residual income. A month and a half later, we promoted to executive consultant, and then after that, we signed up our very first customer in our state of Pennsylvania. A lot of people ask me, Dundy, how do you build a business in a state where you can't get customers? And I did exactly what Chris Atkinson told me. Chris said, focus on areas where you can get customers. So in other words, focus on people that you know there. So let's say you know a guy named Bob, and let's say Maryland is open and you know Bob in Baltimore, okay? So you're going to talk to Bob in Baltimore, and even if Bob is not interested in doing the business, people always forget this. Bob, do you know anyone else that might want to take a look at this business? Some people get turned off on the no, they get offended or their feelings are hurt, and they don't understand that people don't know what this is, and if they don't want to do it, fine. So focus on areas where you can get customers, or in areas that are better for gathering customers, I should say, okay? So your vision board is a visual representation of what motivates you to change your life. When someone comes to me and says, I'm not seeing the success I want, I say to them, show me your vision board and show me your list. The most important thing about your vision board is it's got to be personal, it's got to be detailed, and you have to have it. Okay, so there's no sense of talking anymore about how to do this business if you have not done your vision board. So if you're new and you don't necessarily know how to do a vision board, go to Walmart, get one of those poster boards, those little white poster boards, they're $1. Get some magazines, get some scissors and some glue sticks or whatever, maybe a screensaver, but your eyes need to see it every single day. That's important, every single day, because this vision board is proven to work. It is awesome. Your contact list is the first thing that you're going to do. Now, remember I took you to Chris and Debbie's website. Remember the Team526 website? And there's that little training video. You should watch that training video before you do anything else. Before you make any phone calls, before you make any invitations, you should watch that training video because I want you to avoid some initial mistakes, okay? Who goes on your list? Absolutely everyone goes on your list. Everyone that recognizes your name or your face, okay? Don't prejudge. Don't eliminate people off your list. Memory jogger, I'm going to take you to Power Zone here. Let's go back to the home page. You're going to go to Ambit U, and there is List Builder right there. You see that? That List Builder link is what gets you this little guy right here. It's just a memory tool, okay? So the first task is to build a list. The first thing to learn, okay, the art or the skill would be how to invite. What do I say? Let me just say that as you're building your business, yes, you do want to get some initial customers. When you're calling that person on the phone to be a customer, you're going to ask them to look at the business somewhere in this conversation. So I will tell you what I did on my first phone call. Again, my state wasn't open. I called my buddy Dave in upstate New York. I go, hey, Dave, this is Dundy. I started a new business, wondering if you have a few minutes to take a look at it to see if it interests you. He went to the website. He goes, no, Dundy, doesn't interest me. And I said, well, Dave, can I count on you as a favor to get started? I only have to get a few customers. Will you be one of my first customers? He goes, how much is it going to cost me? I said, it's not going to cost anything. And then he asked me questions because back then in New York, the guaranteed savings was only 1%. And he was asking me to explain it. I go, Dave, I can't explain it because I don't know. I just got started. He goes, well, Dundy, my entire electric bill is only $40. The supply charge is half that, that's $20. You're saying 1% off $20? That's not even worth it to me. I said, Dave, it may not be worth it to you, but it's worth it to me. I only have to get a few customers. I'm under a deadline. Can I count on you for that favor? And he said yes. So when you're asking someone to be a customer, you're asking for a favor. When you're asking someone to take a look at this business to be a potential consultant, you're asking their opinion. The key here is that when you're asking someone to be a consultant or to take a look at this business, try not to be in the recruiting mode, because recruiting means I want something from you. I want a commitment from you. I want you to spend money. I want you to do X, Y, and Z. That's not really what we're after. Your income is directly proportional to how many people look at this business. So you are much more likely to get someone to look at it if you use an open hand and say, like I told Dave, I said, Dave, I want you to take a look at something. I'm really excited about it. It may not be for you. If it's not for you, that's totally okay. Okay, that's fine. We went to a mattress store. I talked to the guy behind the counter on a mattress. I told him to go to my website. He looked at the website, and I said, are you interested? He goes, no, this isn't for me. I said, perfect. Thank you very much. That's I tell people if it's not for you, that's okay. So if you use an open hand to invite, note the word invite. Invite is different than recruit. Invite means, listen, I just want you to take a look at it and give me your opinion, right? In a perfect world, you call up someone that you know well, like let's say Zeke. I know Zeke. Hey Zeke, are you home? And Zeke says yes. I said, can you give me like about 20 or 30 minutes? I got to show you something. He goes, yeah. What's up? So I come over to Zeke's house and I show him the business, either DVD or a website or whatever. In a perfect world, that's what you do. You don't say anything other than I'm coming over. That's all you say. Now, the less you know a person, the more you're going to have to feed them some information, because sometimes they always give you that, what is this thing, right? These 3 questions are designed to pique a person's interest enough so that they will look at it without turning away because you've given them too much information. Here's the key. Your job is to get people to look at it. It's like getting a senior citizen or a person in an old folks home to eat. They won't eat unless you sit next to them. So I have 2 friends that have made over $1 million in this business, and I started October 15th, 2010, and they started about the same time I did. And I watched their paychecks. They were very large. And I noticed what they did. They always sat down with them eyeball to eyeball and showed them this business. The only reason they didn't is if they physically could not. In other words, they don't live here. They live in California. Okay, so they took that commitment to make sure that they showed them the business in person. But these 3 questions I wrote on the back of a business card, or I have them on the back of a business card, and I put them on a 3x5 card so that I would be prepared for that. What is this kind of a question? Okay. I called one of my friends. Her name is Barb. I'm just getting started, and I said, "Hey, Barb, can you meet me?" I said, "Barb, are you free this Tuesday night?" And Barb goes, "Yeah, I'm free. What's up?" I said, "Can you meet me at the Hampton Inn on the north side of town by the McDonald's?" And she said, "Yeah." She goes, "What time?" I said, "Can you meet me there at 7:30?" She goes, "How long is it going to take?" And I said, "About an hour." And she goes, "Sure. What is it?" And I said, "Well, you see when you get there." And she goes, "Well, why aren't you telling me?" I said, "Because I can't explain it. You'll see when you get there." And she goes, "You're really not going to say anything?" And I go, "No." She goes, "Well, you have my curiosity up." And I said, "Good. Then you're going to be there for sure, right?" She goes, "Yes." And so she did. She showed up and she joined as a consultant. So with your skill of inviting comes your first mistake. It's very common for people to make this mistake, and that is they are so excited. It's zero down. This zero down enrollment ends next Friday. They want to tell as many people as they can as fast as they can, and their friends don't see the urgency of what's going on, and so they want to bait the hook with more, put more bait on the hook. In other words, they say too much. You don't want to say anything other than, I want to sit down with you and show you something. If you literally say more than that, you're in trouble. If you have to say anything, that's what these 3 questions are for. And you don't have to say them verbatim, but it's just something like that. Okay? But here is your role, especially a new person. Your job is to get someone to take a look at this business. Executive consultant Bobby Ames, who is Chris and Debbie Atkinson's son, who by the way started 18 months after, he said no to the business for 18 months. He's Debbie's son. When he started the business, Debbie had contacted all of his friends. So he had absolutely no one to contact that he knew because Debbie already got to him. His entire business was built on people he did not know. And he's famous for saying, whatever you have to say to get them to press play. Press play from the DVD from Success from Home magazine or the DVD from the Chris and Debbie DVD, okay? So your job is to bait the hook and throw it in the water and get people to look at it. Once they have seen it, you hand them over to us. That's so critical. We're going to go over that. So don't explain this business, okay? Now, there are different ways to get people to see the business. Your highest success rate is in getting someone to look at it in a local business presentation, like Addison or McHenry or Grace Lake, a professional business presentation. Your highest failure rate is getting someone to actually show up. They think it's a timeshare. They think it's an Amway. They think it's that they're going to have to go spend money, because I don't know about you, but if you've ever been to a product-based network marketing business, it's like you have to spend at least $10. You know what I'm saying? They just want you to spend something. So people think that they're going to get roped into this, and so they don't show up. If they don't show up, then just meet them on their terms as fast as you can. Don't wait till next Thursday if you live in Grays Lake to bring someone to the business, because that only gives you one more day before open enrollment ends. You want to show the business as quickly as you can. So meet them at Panera Bread tomorrow morning, okay? As fast as you humanly can to get them to see this business. Now, so a local meeting is your highest success rate. The Success from Home magazine with the DVD is phenomenal. If you're going to do an in-home presentation, which I highly recommend for new people, the Chris and Debbie DVD is the DVD of choice. The Chris and Debbie DVD is in English and Spanish. It's a presentation, it's a training, and it's testimonials all in one DVD. It is fantastic for an in-home meeting. For someone who's new in the business, you can say something like, hey, I'm having a grand opening for my new business. I want you to see what I'm doing. Can you come over at blah? That's it. A grand opening for my new business. I want you to see what I'm doing. Not I want you to see, not I want to recruit you into my business. I want to see what you're doing. Okay, so an in-home presentation with a Chris and Debbie DVD, highly recommend that. My friends Tim and Missy Ullinger and Kim and Jim Mason, those couples both have made over $1 million. I knew them when they were virtual nobodies, okay? And I saw the way they conducted themselves around other people. And you could tell the look on their face, the way they carried themselves. They kind of had a sense of urgency about them. Their eye contact was better. They stood, they dressed up to go to a business presentation. A lot of people will go in like one of my consultants used to show up in a wife beater shirt and jeans. I mean, there's nothing wrong with wearing what you want to wear, but if you want to broadcast to other people that this is your multi-million-dollar business, you may not want to go to someone's house for a business presentation with a wife beater shirt and blue jeans, because he did that every single meeting. I don't get it. If that's what you want to do, fine, but that's not what Tim and Missy did, and that's not what Kim and Jim Mason did, because they treated their business like it was a serious business, and they now have serious income because of that. Okay. Also, about this commitment right here, they would drive for as long as it would take to show the business in person. Okay, so your commitment. In other words, if you're willing to drive umpteen hours or umpteen miles to show this person the business, then it would also make sense that you would also go out of your way to help them to get started. That's important. So, like I said, let me go to the compensation plan and tell you, why are we looking for consultants and not just customers? People always say, well, that doesn't make sense. Why? I can sign up a lot of customers. Why are you always saying I want consultants? Okay, so I'm going to take you to this slide right here. This $39,000 a month, that's a lot of money. Okay, and here I'm going to explain to you why we want consultants and not customers. This money is predicated on the fact that you're going to get paid on 32,810 customers. Okay. Now, do you want to go out and get 32,000 customers? You do not. In this scenario, you have put in 20 customers, which can be 2 points for your website and 9 households on gas and electricity in Illinois. Okay, so that's what you did. Everyone else got 10. So your personal customers that you enroll personally pay you 5 cents a month. 20 times a nickel is $1. So if all you did was put in personal customers on band 1, you would get $1 a month. Well, do you want $1 a month, or do you want 39,000 a month? Well, so what you want to do then is get consultants who get a few, who get consultants who get a few, who get consultants who get a few, and over time you're going to get paid, and you can see you get paid more money the further in depth you go. And his is probably the most important thing I can tell you about this slide. This is seriously important. 3,279 consultants took the time and effort to gather 32,810 customers. If this were a product-based business and these people quit, Normally in a product-based business, the reps are users, whether it's a shake, a protein shake, or a weight loss formula, or skin cream, whatever. When they stop using it because their hours get cut at work, Christmas is coming, issues get in the way, and they have to cut things out of their budget. They usually cut disposable income out, and when they stop, this stops. With Ambit Energy, once these consultants put a virtual wire on a customer's ComEd meter to your bank account, their Nicor gas meter to your bank account, once those virtual screws are tightened and all these people quit, you still get paid $39,189 a month because you don't have to remind them to pay their bill. Okay? Nice about being cold in Chicago right now is this scenario is band 1. Band 1 is the lowest usage. That's like a 200 kilowatt electricity bill. I don't know about you, but my electricity bill is way more than 200 kilowatts. The average usage is 2 to 3. But when it's super cold out, people are using higher than band 1 in gas, and this number actually goes up significantly. So that is why I'm explaining to you why we don't focus on getting customers. We focus on getting consultants who get a few, because this is what we want. Because these customers lead to this paycheck. Debbie Atkinson would say, how do you get this money? You just fill in the blanks. Okay, so that's why we focus on consultants. In other words, we focus on inviting, and in the conversation of gathering a customer, we're going to ask that person if they want to take a look at this business. Okay. The three-way call, when I sit down and show, okay, I'm showing, let's see, Christy. I'm showing Christy the business. We're sitting in Starbucks. I'm going to sit down with Christy and say, okay, Christy, I have done this business because I tell her a very quick invitation of 5 minutes of why I'm doing this, very short. We're going to take a look at this DVD inside of Success Magazine. We're going to put it in. It's like 20, 25 minutes. At the end, we're going to get a leader on the phone to say hello. That exact wording is what I use. And I say, Christy, if you have some questions based on what you saw, that would be a great time to ask questions, but don't feel obligated to say anything. Okay, that makes Christy feel comfortable that we're not getting a closer on the call. That person that is kind of forcing him or convincing him. That's not the purpose of the three-way call. All right. So at the end, and Christy has seen a DVD, I ask 3 questions. Question number 1, what did you like? Question number 2, does this make sense to you? Question number 3, are you ready to get started? The most important question, are you ready to get started? If Christy says yes, she says, well, I can get in for 0 cost. I just have to put a website down. I said, that's correct. She goes, get me started right now. If that's the case, you don't do the 3-way call. Okay. You sign Christy up under your Energy 526 website. If Christy does have some questions, or she didn't say yes, then you get Chris Atkinson on the line. So what you do is, it says right here, set up in advance with upline leaders. So I'm going to text, like 3, 4, or 5 people to see who might be available at such and such a time. And all my text messages says is 3-way, 3 p.m. Central, ? In other words, if it's like noon and I'm doing a presentation at 2:30, that's all my text messages says. And then say Chris Atkinson comes back and says, okay. That being the case, I finished the presentation. Christy did not sign up as a consultant. I get Chris Atkinson on the phone. Here's the game changer. Christy does not have to ask any questions. I get Chris on the line. I introduce Christy to Chris, and so on. I introduce each other so they know who they are. And all I say is this. Hey, Chris, I know that you're very busy. Maybe just for very briefly here, can you kind of explain to or say to us what Ambit Energy has done for you? That conversation is what made my friends millionaires, because it lends credibility. Number 1, Chris Atkinson, who's made over $7 million, actually answered the telephone. Number 2, it shows teamwork. And number 3, all Christy wants to know is, will that guy answer my phone? Because I can play a DVD and I can get that guy on the phone. That is literally what we do. The problem is, number 1, people do not do the 3-way call. I don't want to bother Chris Atkinson. He's busy. Okay, that is a serious mistake. Serious mistake, because you don't have the credibility in front of your friends in the energy business. They know you haven't done energy before, and they saw you couldn't tie your shoes when you're in the 3rd grade. Okay? You want to get someone else to do that. Because if you start explaining everything and answering questions, then you are a salesman, and single moms or soccer moms or people who don't have any time, they don't want to do sales. But if you can invite and get someone else to answer those questions, then they can say, so all I got to do is bait the hook and throw it in the water and get some guy named Chris Atkinson on the phone? Well, I can do that. That's seriously important that you do this 3-way call. Remember, but that's only if they don't join in the spot. Okay? 3-way call. Talked about that. Okay, talked about that. I talked about how to get you your first money. Remember, 3 consultants in 28 days gets you 100. 2 more gets you 150. In case there are, people in Texas, if you get Texas customers, 2 customers gets you 100, and 2 more gets you another 100. It doesn't matter where you live. It matters where the customers come from. Okay? Plugging people in. As far as the meetings in the area, yes, I'm still working Power Zone. Thank you. Here is your event calendar. And let's say what's going on. Let's see, today's the 20th. What's going on next Thursday? I click over here on Thursday. Oh, I gotta re-sign up. Sorry about that. Give me a second. Your event calendar kind of keeps tabs on, and it doesn't have to be your state, right? It could be any state, any city, so that you can direct people to a presentation. So here is next Thursday. You can see on here they have a meeting in Grays Lake. It's the University Center. You can see who the leaders are. You can see their phone numbers and so on, and you can see any, is there a cost share? Is it free parking? Any details like that, okay? So if you want to direct someone to a presentation, this is how you find out what's going on. And I should probably mention this. Let's say that, this happens to be Baltimore, and you want to connect your guest with a leader. Okay, you don't know the leaders, but perhaps I do, or Chris and Debbie does. So contact us, like Zeke or Renee or me or whoever. We are going to contact that leader in Baltimore and prepare them for when your guest shows up for that presentation, okay? So this is one way to get to stay connected. The other thing that's very, very important is ambition, which is under events. And then Ambition 2015, you can see the dates right there. It's in Dallas. There's the price. All this stuff down here tells you the, what days and what's going on the schedule. Let me just tell you that every person that I know that has been, shall we say, more than beer money, successful in Ambit Energy, they've always attended Ambition. There's just something about going to a wedding that you just can't get on a video. Okay? Watching mere Walmart people call them, walk across the stage as regional consultants, senior consultants, and ECs. When you talk to them after the sessions and find out that, they're just like me, well, that tells you that you can get there too. That's probably the value I have for me, was the fact that I saw that I can do this. Let me just tell you, you just have to register for Ambition and get there. There is nothing more important than that. Okay, simulcast in January, Ambition around Labor Day weekend. So let's get rid of that. The trainings. We have a March 14th training coming up in Des Plaines. Do I have the, let me see if I can pull this guy up. Okay, or save the dates. March Madness training with national consultant Chris Atkinson. It's at the Frisbee Center. This website here is the website that you would get tickets. We have it discounted until next Friday. That's when the window closes for the zero enrollment. The tickets are going fast. We can only fit like 300 people there, so you want to get these tickets at $5 a person. So you want to get trained by Chris Atkinson, trust me. Now that's on a Saturday, okay, so that would be Saturday the 14th. That Tuesday, right here, Chris Atkinson is going to be in Addison at American Mattress headquarters. Wednesday, probably the Frisbee Center. We're still kind of deciding. And then Thursday is going to be the University Center. Ambitious Women's Conference, that website right there is how you sign up for the Ambitious Women's Conference. My wife, when she first started, told me that I could not talk to any of her friends for a year. Her mom told me I was going to go to jail. She was very upset I was doing this. She was a female chaplain, basically thought that we were going to lose all of our friends, that this is going to collapse, and it was going to be, basically a bad thing. Like she sees all the girls in jail bad things happen to the girls. Well, she went to a women's conference just after a year into the business, and at that women's conference met Chris Chambliss' wife, Leslie. And that short conversation changed her heart, because she came back and said that we were going to leave United Airlines and do Ambit Energy full time. There is no substitute for my wife taking the time and effort to take 3 ladies down to Ambitious Women's Conference. So if you have any desire as a woman, if you want to be around top-notch leaders, okay, here are the dates. That's the website. You just have to go. May 16th, training in Buffalo. It's like a 9+ hour drive from here to Buffalo. That's what we're planning on doing for Team 526 Chicago. There's on Team 526 is where you can get the tickets. Chris Atkinson has given me some nuggets, some highlights, shall we say, sneak peeks on what he has planned for this May 16th training. Let me just tell you, it is an ambition level event. It's a very high level event. I would recommend that you go there. And as Chris said before we started, I went to a training. Why do I have to go to another one? Well, I'm an airline pilot. I fly Boeing 777s. Do I have a picture? I don't have one here. Sorry, I was gonna get a picture lined up. I have to go through what's called recurrent training. Every 6 months or so, I have to go to Denver and I have to read the books over again. I have to take the simulator training over again. It's like, well, why do I have to do it? Well, because you need repetition. I don't want to get into a sticky situation. Say I lose an engine on takeoff and I haven't actually experienced that in the simulator for 10 or 15 years, right? You want to attend trainings as often as you can. Now, I will tell you that when I first joined this business, it was very uncomfortable for me. It was very awkward. I did not even know how to do a 3-way call. We had to practice it at the kitchen table with my friends. And to be honest with you, I did not want to go do network marketing, but I did want I did want the paychecks I was seeing my friends getting. So what did I do? I just shadowed Chris and Debbie Atkinson. I went to the trainings and I picked up a little bit here, a little bit there. I didn't learn it all at once. I made a lot of mistakes, but if you keep at it and go to the trainings and plug into the system, you will do well. Chris Atkinson also has, I'm going to go to his website here. Where is his website? Okay. This conference call phone number right here and this PIN code, Sundays at 7 Central, 8 Eastern, I would consider that phone call to be a do not miss call. It's like a mandatory call. I mean, come on. Do you consider Ambit Energy to be a part-time business? Well, you can't afford 30 minutes a week to get on a phone call. You dial it. This is a new number, by the way. You dial this number. Here's the PIN code. Hit the pound sign, and you mute your phone. I mean, you can't do that 30 minutes. Sunday night call, I consider mandatory. In other words, I think they're very important. Throughout the week, Monday through Saturday, they're at 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern time in the morning. They last about 20 minutes. And if you want to schedule, down here, you can see, because I was on Tuesday, okay, you can see who the speakers are and what topic they're going to go over. And this is for, if you want to, there's a lot of information on this website, by the way, but I'm just saying that's how you can stay connected. So I talked about ambition. I talked about Ambitious Women's Conference. I talked about the training coming up on March 14th. I talked about May 16th training and staying connected. Where did my training go? Okay. The only other thing I would say is this business, while it's zero down, I would work this business with every ounce of effort you have for as 24/7, whatever you have to do. A little birdie whispered in my ear that after midnight, February 27th, it's no longer going to be zero to get in. Okay. I kind of had a little heads up that it was going to be extended, but I've also been giving a heads up it will not be extended to what it is now. Now, is it going to be jumped to 429? I don't know. My guess is they're probably going to do some sort of a roll-in, like a blended thing, but I don't know. They didn't say. But that's what I would recommend. So anybody have any questions on anything we've gone over so far? Text me here or there in the message, things we can go over. Let me go back to Power Zone.
Hey, Dundy, everybody that's on the call, it is so important to plug in. And when you've been in the business for a little bit, you understand that the plugging in is what keeps it in front of you.
Yes.
Life gets busy. We all have a lot of things going on. And if you put this to the side, it's like putting your favorite book to the side. You'll get to read it later on. Well, later on, the kids got this, and the family's got that, and work is this, and work is that.
Right.
If you're going to treat it as a business, you need to treat it as a business, not as a hobby. You need to keep it in front of you, and then when you say, I'm going to spend 30 minutes on Wednesday night calling 5 people or 10 people or 20 people, that's on your schedule just like as if you were going to work. Because if you treat it as a hobby, you're going to get a hobby. If you treat it as a business, it will grow for you.
Exactly right. Me personally, you can see that our bonus check this week is pretty nice. The week after that is more than that. I will tell you that our residual check, 12 months into the business, that monthly residual check was less than $100. And I was putting a lot of time and effort into it. Okay. I was, shall we say, disappointed in my income with the level of effort I was putting in. And Chris and Debbie Atkinson continually, because remember, I'm starting from a state where I could not get customers, and it didn't grow as fast for me. Chris and Debbie continually encouraged me. Dundy, just maintain your focus on areas where you can get customers. Start getting people to look at this and start asking people for referrals. You will find someone. So I kept at it, a little bit here, a little bit there. Just like Zeke said, I wasn't seeing success, but you know what? People go and get a 4-year college degree and spend thousands and thousands of dollars, and they make no money during college, right? This business, you may not have the money right away, but you're, I'm saying that you're not spending $100,000 to learn how to do ABBA Energy. You're getting in for zero right now, and you can learn as you go. So I kept at it. I promoted to regional consultant in 6 weeks. I promoted to senior consultant in a total of 5 months, and then I hit a brick wall. Okay, it just seemed like things weren't happening. I signed up a guy in the Chicago area who we drove 12 hours to sign up and train. Okay, I brought my family with me so that they can meet this guy as well. And my family is right here. My daughter Anna, 11, my wife Holly, and of course there's me. So we drove to Chicago. He said he had 8,000 people in his contact list. He goes, Dundy. He looked at me in the eye. He goes, Dundy, we're going to kill this. Well, what am I thinking? I've hit pay dirt. EC, here I come. I drive home and I never hear from him again. I don't know if it's ever happened to you before. I call Chris Atkinson because you always call up when you have a problem. You don't call down. I called Chris Atkinson and he said, basically in the conversation, he said, Dundy, you're just going to have to go to the next person. And so that conversation was life-changing for me because what he helped me to understand was even though you may not see the success that you want, if you understand that these kind of experiences are normal, then you can continue going. So I did. I signed up another consultant who did nothing. After that, I signed up another consultant who did nothing. And then I and then I flew with a guy to Brazil. I'm a co-pilot. He's a captain. Who in conversation said to me, Dundy, I have purposely avoided this kind of a business my entire life. I'm never going to do it. Please change the subject. Went home. I left him a business card because Debbie Atkinson said, always leave him with something because you don't know. I left him with a business card. He looked at that website, my Energy 526 website, and to my total shock, 5 days later signs up. And 70% of my business came from that conversation. I could have given up. I could have quit. It was difficult for me in these conversations of being disconnected with my job. I'm out of the country all the time. My wife won't let me talk to any of her friends. I'm not from the East Coast. I'm from California. I had so many obstacles. But I kept at it because Chris and Debbie said, they just said, keep focusing on areas where you can get customers. And so eventually I finally got some stuff going on here in the Chicagoland area. We moved our family from Warren, Pennsylvania to Deer Park to be around like-minded people like Zeke on the phone, people who want to change their life and put some time into this. And so we did that with the goal of leaving United Airlines and doing AMA Energy full-time. So for those of you who are new, I have personally put in 29 customers, okay? If you're wondering, by the way, why your customers down here aren't showing up, so I put in 29 personal customers. So my comment bill is 1, and my NICOR bill is 1. I have enrolled 40 consultants. To date, there's 2,511 total consultants, and you can see the number of pending and energized customers. So you're wondering, why are my customers not showing up? Notice this says pending. Remember what I talked about, what pending means. Pending means this yellow. If they're not yellow, find out why. Go to your customer page and take your little cursor over the dot, and verification call attempt number 1. That looks like they haven't gone through the verification phone call. Well, duh, that's why they're not showing up on your power zone under here for total customers. Again, why do we want to continue talking to people and helping them? Because you do a little bit of work and you help someone else do a little bit of work, and over time it turns into, this is like 1/10. My friends have 10 times this information. 10. Okay, they make 10 times the money and 10 times this. So this is like nothing. But I'm just saying what can happen, as Zeke said, what can happen for you if you stick with it, even though you're not seeing success or the kind of success that you want. Because like I said, my residual check 12 months into the business was $88 and change. And Holly said to me, okay, Mr. Big Ambit boy with your big Ambit pants, take me out to dinner with your big $88. That's what she said to me. 6 months later, we retired her off of her job because I did not quit. Chris and Debbie said, just keep at it. A little bit here, a little bit here. Like Zeke said, you need to stay with this business. You need to stay plugged in, okay, so that you have the confidence level of when you finally have that conversation. And I'm going to bring up a picture here and talk about this a minute. This is what I did back in the day. I flew F-16s in Desert Storm. And I want to tell this story because it's really important. They used to tell us in training, and our training was monotonous. It was tiring. It's fatiguing. It hurt. Training after training after training. It was just all the time. Obviously, in a fighter, it was fun, but not all the time fun. And they would always say this to us: you are going to train your whole life for 5 minutes, which I did. I flew a mission to Baghdad, day 3 of Operation Desert Storm. It was the most heavily defended target. It was more heavily defended than any target in the entire war in Vietnam. 2 guys were shot down from that mission, and the next day we had to get up and do it again. So I had 5 minutes over that target area, and yes, my bombs were on target. Why am I saying that? Because you are going to have a conversation with someone that's going to last 5 minutes that can potentially change your entire life. Are you going to be ready for that conversation? In other words, even though you're not making the money you want, are you going to stick with it and learn the skills of inviting, going to the trainings and figuring out how to answer questions, how to work as a team? You're going to, how to make this system work for you without you having to go out there and do all the effort. So I think this is something that, like Zeke said, is staying connected. Is there anyone else that wants to say any comments? I see Shamir's got to go. No problem.
Hey, Dundy, will you explain the compound effect? I think that everybody sees the numbers, but will you explain like the compound effect on how you work in 5 hours on this business a week after a certain amount of time? This is unbelievable how much.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the compound effect because that's super important. I'm going to take you to this slide right here because this shows the compound effect, okay? So obviously this is you. These are your personally sponsored consultants. So I'm going to go down here and show 3,279 consultants on your team. If 3,279 consultants put in 1 hour a week, 1 hour a week. That's not a lot of time, okay? You have in your business put in 3,279 hours working to you in your business. Now, normally a full-time business, full-time work schedule is 40 hours. So what you have done, okay, in doing this is you have them working, obviously they're working to change their life, not just for you, but the compound effect over time is incredible. And I'm going to share the compound effect here even more right here in this slide, because as a regional consultant and higher, you're going to get 25 cents per customer per month. Let me show you what that looks like. Under the scenario of everyone only getting 3 customers, okay, 3 customers up here, you've brought in 20, everyone else has brought in 3, okay, you can see the numbers, but this is level 7, 8, 9, 10. Under that scenario, that regional consultant right here with 25 cents a month gets $66,429 a month. Trust me, I've done the math. It comes out correct. So this scenario only goes down 7 levels. So you have 3,279 hours a week if they put in 1 hour a week working for you. But this is level 7. As you start going down into, I think Chris Atkinson has people like 50 or 60 levels deep. We have like 15, 16, or 17 levels deep. As that tree starts to spread out, you have people putting in way more than 3,279 hours a week. So a famous quote, and I can't remember who said it at the time, maybe it was Carnegie or someone said, I would rather live off of 1% of the efforts of 100 men or 100% of the effort of solely myself. And here's why. Your efforts alone, here's you, and customers brings you 5 cents times 20 is $1. Your efforts, 100% of your effort brings you $1. 1% of the efforts of others, I don't know if it's 1%, but you can see the compound effect over time turns into how other people are working their business. Now, like I said, this is not necessarily a selfish thing where I want them to work for me, because we are helping them build or change their life. But it is mathematically still correct that as they work their business, these hours in this compensation plan does reward you. For those of you that haven't heard the story, very briefly, my sponsor, her name is Lois, the one who called me on the phone, started as in Ambit Energy. I was her very first consultant. She got to regional consultant and had to quit the business, basically, put it on hold because of family problems. So, of the other 5 that she brought in, did absolutely nothing. I'm the only one that ever did anything, and very recently paid $33,900 cash with only Ambit money, bought a brand new car off the showroom floor. Now, the nice thing about that is, number one, her family has never even, she told me, Dundy, my family has never even looked at a new car, let alone owned a new car. Never. And then she pays cash. Now, I've never paid cash for a car. I've always made payments. But because I said yes, this compensation plan right here that Zeke talked about, the compound effect of she signs me up, I sign up Jerry Muldor signs up Sarah signs up Krista signs up Renee signs up Rob signs up Jack Costella. That compound effect over time has turned into this. Okay, this check on February 20th and whatever it is, the week after that, which means I have to relog in. Doesn't matter. That's not the point. The point is the compound effect can be very spectacular if you stick with this. Anybody else have any comments?
Hey guys, if you can't talk up, just text in the box down there, and we'll be glad to answer your questions.
Yep, right down here in the here box, H-E-R-E here. Boom, see that here.
Kristen, Scott, Joyce?
Bueller. Bueller.
All right, one last thing that I didn't understand, and it took me a long time to understand, that just a little short story, that when I first started, I put my first customer in at 1:30 in the morning Chicago time. And I get a text from a guy in Pennsylvania saying, "You're still putting customers in," and it was Dundy. And so he ended up calling me. It was 2:30 in the morning his time. So it was 1:30 in the morning my time in Chicago. And since then, it's like every night we kind of figure out that sooner or later we're going to talk to each other in the middle of the night, because we both believe that this is actually without a doubt worth the time. What took me a long time to understand is not only the compound effect, but how they organize this compensation plan so that when somebody joins your organization, they're your level one. They're your level one for the rest of the time they're in Ambit. Doesn't matter if they're an MC, an RC, an SC, an EC, or an NC. So every time they start a new organization, can you go to the slide, Mick, with every time they go into one of these additional organizations, the previous one continues to work for them. So when you become an RC, your RC continues, even when you're an SC. So you're helping people in your RC and you're helping your people in your SC. When you become an EC, you're doing all three. They're all continuing. But every time you start a new code, you start with 0 people in that code. You're always putting in another level 1. Well, if I sponsored Dundy, every time Dundy put in another level 1, and that built a level 2, and it built a level 3, and it built a level 4, and all those different codes, and all those thousands of people that he has in there, they're all in my business. It's the equalizer of making this compensation work no matter what your level is, no matter how successful you are, as long as you stick with it. And that takes a little bit to wrap your head around. Yeah, and Dundy was way better explaining it than I probably just was, but it's not just the compound effect down, it's the compound effect horizontally as people promote. People can pass you by, and that's absolutely 100% okay.
Yep, we want to do that. I want to mention briefly here. Where did I find it? Just a second here. I owe my success to. There it is, Chris Atkinson, getting the Thompson Award. I want to encourage you guys every single time that you can be around Chris Atkinson, Chris and Debbie. Whether it's the conference calls on Sunday night, whether he comes down for March 14th training, he comes down to a presentation. If you don't know who Chris is, I have been given permission from Chris that you can just call him on the phone, quick 2-minute message, say, hey, my name is blah, 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 Dundy or Zeke or whoever said, is it okay if I just introduce myself? And they said I can use you for a 3-way call. If there was anything I would tell you to build your business is stay connected with your leaders. Okay? Stay connected with the people that, in other words, if you want their income, if you want their life change, then just follow where they've been and step where they've gone. And so every time whenever I can, I maybe shoot a quick text message to Chris, or I call him, or we chat. Chris says that he owes his success to the fact that he contacted his sponsor every single day for, I think it was 18 months, right, Zeke? Was it 18 months? Okay. So in other words, when you're connected to people that know how to do this business and can be successful, that connection, that staying plugged in is the game changer. So find someone who you work well with. Find someone who you can get like an accountability partner. But whenever I see Chris, either maybe Chris is doing whatever he's doing, he's having a training, or he's going to be an ambition, or he's having a party, or he's having a special get together, I would recommend that you spend just shadow him. Chris and Debbie, where they happen to be, shadow them and just kind of hang around and listen to their stories, because again, the single most important thing that I did in my business getting started was I always brought my guests in front of Chris Atkinson. So let's say, case in point, we're in Jamestown, New York. I'm a marketing consultant, and I bring a guest. Okay, my marketing consultant, when they had a question, I did not answer their questions. I walked up my guest in front of Chris Atkinson, even though there was a line of however many people, and even though I knew how to answer that question, I brought them in front of Chris, and said, hey, Chris, I just want to introduce you to so-and-so. He had a couple of questions, and maybe you're better at answering than I am. And so that connection with your team, with Chris Atkinson, is what will change your life. Don't build this business on your own. Don't build this business on your own credibility. It's a system. Chris Atkinson is part of that system. I am part of that system. Zeke is part of that system. Okay, so tap into that system, because all of our leaders here in Ambit Energy are here to work together to change your life. But the people that flounder and the people that don't work very well, that don't make the money, is because they disconnect themselves and they do it on their own. That's sad, but I'm sorry, that's what you need to do. So the Thompson Leadership Award is the #1 award in Ambit Energy. If there's anyone that you would like to follow, it's this man right here, Chris and Debbie. These guys are leaders. They like I like to say, they don't just hang out in the loft. They come down on the floor with the barn animals and hang out with us. And he is a field leader. He is in the trenches with us, a field leader. So I just want to say thanks to Chris's leadership. And I will also tell you this: when my friends and I first got started 4.5 years ago, the ones that have made millions, and they're, you know them as rock stars, but I knew them as they're just marketing consultants. We did not get into this business and say, well, Chris and Debbie, they make all that money because they started early. They got in early, and nobody can make the money because only people who get in early make the money. Okay, that's not the case, because Tim and Missy Ollinger and Kim and Jim Mason, right? They started several years after Chris and Debbie did, and they've already made over $1 million. It's not true that you have to get in early to make millions, and only the people who get in early. I will tell you what we said to our friends, okay? And all of our friends, the leaders, we all hung out together. We went to Jamestown together. We went to Buffalo together. We went to, wherever they had a presentation or the training, we had a dinner, we had a party, we all hung out together. And this is what we would say: I don't care the fact that the people at the top make the money. I look at it as, how do we get to the top? Okay, I mean, the poverty mentality, the poor man's mentality says, well, only the people at the top make the money. No, that's not true. You can get to that top. Like Zeke said, right? When people join your business, like Zeke said, right? When people join your business, like this person right here, when they're a marketing consultant, this is what a marketing consultant does. This little tree, okay? This tree is a marketing consultant. But when they promote to regional consultant, this person right here opens up another tree like this. They open up another slide that looks just like this when they promote to regional consultant. When that personally sponsored consultant right here promotes to senior consultant right here, that person right here brings another slide that looks just like this. So this is just 3 consultants. I think Chris and Debbie have put in 200 something consultants. You don't have to stop at 3. Okay, and so like Zeke said, just if you just put consistent and persistent effort every day, it doesn't have to be a lot, because some people times get busy and you can't work hours a day every day, because people have full-time jobs and they're not able to do it. But a consistent and persistent effort over time is what does this. Sarah Marcos, who's one of our good leaders here on the team, went to regional consultant on 15 minutes a week. Now, 15 minutes a week is not a lot of time, okay? And I'm like pulling the teeth. I'm like biting my nails, I saw leadership potential in Sarah, and I was like, I almost acted like her boss. I think I may have told her. I said, Sarah, I don't want to hear any excuses from you. You're going down a power trip in Dallas on such and such a date. I don't remember when that was, but I remember telling her she was going to do it. And she got this. She tells me later she had this scared look in her eyes, like I just ordered her like I was a superior officer. And so she brought Krista down there. That experience of Sarah and Krista going down a power trip, in other words, having a major training event, turned our business into a literal explosion. So connect with your leaders, stay focused, stay excited. This is, we have basically 1 week left under 0 enrollment. So I would work as hard as you possibly can. Anyone else have anything they want to say?
Hey, Dundy, I just wanted to tell you that I really appreciate you and your leadership, and you've just been a really great leader for us, and I just want to thank you so much for all that you do and for taking out the time tonight, especially to go through this and train us and new consultants. I've learned some things tonight that I didn't know, so I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Sure, Joyce. How close are you to senior?
I still need quite a few customers. I need six consultants to gather their customers.
You're 6 consultants away.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Anyone else like to volunteer how close they are to promoting to the next level? Nope. Okay. All right. Anyone else have anything to say before we sign off tonight? Okay. If you guys have any comments or anything else you would like to say, here's the information. Cell phone, email address. And if you have comments, or let's do this again, right? Or maybe we can tweak it and do some other things, or maybe we can talk about something else. Let's just, what works, what doesn't work. Let's kind of compare and share notes. Obviously, a webinar is nice because on a cold night, people can get together and learn stuff, right? Webinars are great. So, paid for the service. If you guys want to do a webinar of your own, I've already paid for it. I will give you the same access so that you can do your own webinar. Maybe you guys want to do it, with your own little team or whatever, while I'm flying or can't use it. Let's just share our resources and work together. So I'm going to sign off. Thanks, you guys, for being on the call tonight, and let's go change a lot of people's lives. God bless you.
Excellent.
Thanks, Dundy.